Hi, I'm a consultant psychologist in criminality and forensic psychology, and in this video I'll be answering the question, what's the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath? Before we get into that, if you're new here, welcome. I'm a consultant psychologist with a doctorate in clinical psychology, with forensic training in criminology, and I make mental health educational videos, so if you like that kind of thing, consider subscribing for more updates. Now, in a world of serial killers, are they all the same psychological type? The danger with the sociopath is they come from a place of being quite normal. He was quite chaotic and impulsive. He couldn't tolerate frustration very well. He would lash out and attack people. He was able to gain the trust of people around him. He was manipulative, and he was quite calculating in the way that he went about his offending, and being likable and being trusted, and that makes it easy for them to manipulate and deceive people. Psychopaths tend to have what's referred to as a non-reactive attachment. Although these terms are often used interchangeably, there are differences between the two, and understanding those differences is crucial for anyone working in the criminal justice system. Anyone who is interested in true crime, or anyone who simply wants to understand the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath. This means that, when they were babies, they didn't respond to their caregivers in the same way that other children did. They didn't seek comfort from them. They didn't show much emotion. They were almost kind of like little scientists experimenting with how their actions affected other people and testing out the limits of what they could get away with. And when they do offend, it is often too late to realize who they really are. They were very responsive as babies, very demanding of their caregivers, very clingy, but then something happened. Perhaps some kind of trauma or a significant change in their lives, and that made them stop seeking comfort and reassurance from their caregivers. Instead, they became quite angry and acted out in other ways. With the psychopath, you know they're going to kill you. But with the sociopath, you don't see it coming. Are there any differences between them? And how do those differences affect their offending patterns? The answer is yes. Not all serial killers are the same. Psychopathy is associated with offending that is impulsive, chaotic, and sometimes quite dramatic. Think of things like common assault, maybe drink driving, maybe things like indecent exposure. All of those things are associated with the psychopath. The sociopath is more likely to engage in offenses that are planned and calculated. That's not to say that there aren't some elements of both in both types, but those are the broad strokes. There are differences in their psychological functioning, how that affects their behavior, and also how that translates into different offense patterns. So broadly speaking, there are two types of serial killer, the psychopath and the sociopath. And although these terms are often used interchangeably, there are differences between the two. So let's start with the psychopath. They can't tolerate frustration very well. They become angry and they act out. They are charismatic, sometimes even charming, and they are deluded. They believe that they are better than other people. They have an exaggerated sense of their own importance. They're entitled, they're grandiose, and they lack empathy and remorse. They don't see other people as being equal to themselves. They are objects to be used or abused for the sociopath's purposes. They are disposable. The sociopath will discard people once they've finished with them. Now, obviously that can be quite frightening for people because it looks quite random. It looks quite unhinged. However, the reality is that most psychopaths are not violent. They offend in other ways. They may engage in things like deception, manipulation, financial exploitation, but they're unlikely to be physically violent. The risk of physical violence comes from the sociopath. In broad terms, psychopaths are disorganized, chaotic, and visually anxious. They have poor impulse control. The sociopath is cunning and organized and social. Now, Many people come into contact with sociopaths, and do you not even realize it, because they are so good at being social and being charming and being very persuasive. A famous example of a psychopath is Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He was socially inept. He had no difficulty showing his emotions. No, an example of a sociopath is Ted Bundy. He was able to present himself as a nice guy. Another difference between the psychopath and the sociopath is in relation to their childhood histories. Sociopaths tend to have what's called an inhibited attachment. It isn't just serial killers that are either psychopathic or sociopathic. These personality styles are found right across society. So there you have it, the psychopath and the sociopath. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.